Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I have done many videos at the moment in regards to Tommy Robinson. Why? Because I believe what Tommy Robinson is doing is right. And I think in today's day and age, more truth should be pushed to the forefront, especially because the mainstream media, politicians, it's so corrupt now. A lot of the gaslighting that we see is from the mainstream media as well as the politicians. There is definitely a main narrative that is pushed to the forefront of our society. And what frustrates me the most is people that actually are sharing the truth, like Tommy Robinson, they get either cancelled or they can get arrested, they can get charged, they can get deplatformed, all kinds of things. They get accused of ludicrous things like Piers Morgan is accusing Tommy of the inciting the UK riots when really he didn't do anything. In fact, every single protest that Tommy Robinson has had has been peaceful. And it amazes me how in today's day and age and with the ability to check facts and all that sort of stuff, just how much the mainstream media really does get wrong. You know why? Because the mainstream media is a conglomerate organization. And if it doesn't fit their narrative that the agenda is pushing, obviously they're not going to want to show the truth, are they? And for someone like Tommy Robinson that speaks the truth quite consistently and quite openly, and the main reason why the British people love him is, I believe, for that fact. And he's trying to defend and help the people in the UK because, man, is it a hellhole at the moment. Obviously, I'm not there. But what I do see here in Australia is really concerning. I went to Sydney the other week and I went into the city town hall. And what did I see in town hall? Now, obviously, you got freedom of speech. You can do whatever you want. But what did I see? I saw all these protesters out and about outside of town hall yelling and screaming, free Palestine. A lot of them happened to be white. I didn't really see many Muslims. The thing is, the Muslims, they had their own section, but they weren't shouting free Palestine. No, they were trying to hand out free Quran. Like, I'm going, you've got on one hand all these white young dingbats that are walking around trying to make everybody feel bad. They've got the scarves around them, but yet you've got the Muslims that are handing out free Qurans to people that are walking by. And the thing that I love the most about all this, so you've got three different sections. You have on one little section, you had the Christians, just two people, one on a guitar and a mic, and the other one on the drums. And you know what they're doing? They were singing at the top of their lungs. It drowned out the dingbats that were trying to yell and scream free Palestine. It also drowned out the Muslims with the Qurans and talking about Muhammad and everything else like that. I loved seeing the Christians doing their thing and drowning out everybody else. It was fantastic to see. But they're also going, we need to let in all these people from Gaza. We need to let in the Palestinian people. And I'm just going, no. Hold on. You claim to be an Australian and you're wanting open borders? Now we're, I don't know how many kilometers away from the front lines, and we're going, come on in, we'll bring you over. We're one of the only countries that does that. Now, what Tommy Robinson is talking about is if you allow these people into the country illegally and you don't check who they are, what do you think they're going to do? You're seeing it in the US at the moment as well, with illegals crossing the border. They're killing people. They're R-wording young girls. They don't care for our rules or our laws. They don't care one bit. Same thing in the UK. Same thing's happening. Tommy grew up in Luton. He's seen what's been taking place. I've grown up in Sydney, and when I went back, I'm going, I never used to see any of this. Never. Now I am. As a 28-year-old man, I'm going back and I'm going, what the actual hell is going on here? It's not right. Open borders, I'm all for immigration. When people come in here into this country, through a legal process and they abide by our rules and our laws, so be it. But if you come here illegally and you abuse the system and you get away with everything, hell no. So my issue with the not only the British government, but also the Australian government is how they're just allowing all these people in without really doing much checks. And you wonder why crime's up. We've also got a problem with youth crime now here in Australia because the government doesn't give two craps. They're like, oh, give them a slap on the wrist. Let them go. Same thing's happening in the UK, isn't it? You got Tommy that is on the front line. He sees everything. I also shared a video of Tommy walking in the streets and people loved him. They were high-fiving him. They were coming up to him and sharing stories. And it was fantastic to see because the people love him. He needs to be protected at all costs. Douglas Murray, another treasure that I'm sure many people in the UK love Douglas. There's not much that I disagree with Douglas on. In fact, there's so much that I agree with Douglas on. And Douglas is speaking out and defending Tommy Robinson. And gee, I wonder why that is. Piers Morgan's not. Douglas Murray is. Have a watch of Douglas Murray stand up for Tommy Robinson and share why he's standing up for Tommy Robinson.
The interesting thing that Tommy Robinson speaks to and has always spoken to is, what are you allowed to do about this or say about this? Now, if you're me, for the time being, you're allowed to write about it sometimes. You're allowed to speak about it sometimes. You're allowed to raise alarms sometimes. You're allowed to speak your mind somewhat. But if you're a Tommy Robinson character, if you grow up in Luton and you haven't had many advantages in life and you've had quite a lot of disadvantages and you're white and working class, what are you allowed to do about this? What are you allowed to say about any of this? And the government, for decades now, has had the attitude, you're not allowed to do anything. You're not allowed to say anything. You can't do anything because if you do, we'll call you a racist and we'll call you far right.
If you speak out about this, if you have a negative viewpoint, let's say, or they see it as a negative viewpoint, but it's not really a negative viewpoint, it's actually a positive viewpoint because it's going to be helping all the citizens, not just in the UK, but here in Australia and all the other Western countries. It's amazing to me how many countries in the West love to open their borders to illegals. It's funny that, but many countries elsewhere that may not necessarily be in the West, they close them. The Italian Prime Minister recently came out and said, hell no. The Polish Prime Minister, I don't care if you call me a racist. I don't care if you call me everything negative under the sun. I don't care. I have a responsibility to my people to keep them safe. I told them that I will not open the borders, and therefore I'm not going to do that. You have countries that are surrounding Gaza and Palestine that don't want to even let in their so-called own people. Egypt, you have Muslims that go up against Muslims. What's going on with that? I thought you were all supposed to be in solidarity because you're a Muslim. No, doesn't work like that. But other countries were going, we need to be compassionate. We need to open up our borders and allow these people in because that's the right thing to do. No, it's not the right thing to do. And the thing is, Tommy Robinson has been screaming about this for a very long time. And the more people that wake up and listen, the better it is. Douglas Murray, same deal, has been speaking about this. He wrote in The Strange Death of Europe. You're only allowed to talk about this somewhat. And sometimes, those being the key words, somewhat and sometimes. Because if the government takes wind or sees you, they're going to try and shut you up. And they'll try and do that in the worst ways possible. You've seen it with Tommy Robinson, for goodness sake. The man's been arrested, I don't know how many times. He's been charged, I don't know how many times. They're trying to make him into this criminal individual, which he's not. I had someone the other day comment, Tommy Robinson did incite the violence of the UK riots. And I'm going, proof? Where's the proof? Because I haven't found any. So if you're able to do some more sleuthing than me, by all means, go ahead and find some, because I haven't been able to find any. And I'm doing some very good sleuthing. And again, I'll raise this point because I've raised it several times in previous videos regarding Piers Morgan that lied, and Douglas Murray and I had to correct him, although I don't think he saw that. But anyway, if you're someone like Piers Morgan, you've got a wide, extensive producing team and a wide, extensive fact-checking team that can actually spend time finding things that if you say something on air, they're able to correct you if they need to. But they haven't been able to provide a shred of evidence that Tommy Robinson incited any of those UK riots. Nigel Farage threw Tommy Robinson under the bus recently, which is insane. I do enjoy listening to Nigel Farage from time to time, but he's wrong on Tommy Robinson. And look, I will be the first one to say that if I am wrong about Tommy Robinson, I will admit that I am, but I don't think that I am. Because again, if Douglas Murray can see what Tommy's doing and what Tommy speaks to, and I trust Douglas Murray, mate, I think Douglas is right, who's very well-read and highly intellectual man. I trust Douglas. I trust Douglas more than I trust Piers Morgan or any other shrill in the media. Jordan Peterson, another one that I trust. I trust people that actually give a shit. Okay. Like I trust people that are really authentic individuals and would give you the time and day. They're humble. You can tell they're humble. I mean, Tommy Robinson seems like a really down to earth dude. Okay. And I'm looking forward to hopefully one day speaking to him. Love to have a conversation with him because he just seems like one of those individuals that says it how it is, loves saying it how it is because he knows that that is the truth. And for me, looking at that, I'm going, I follow people that speak the truth. I follow people that I see what's going on in the world and they're speaking up about it. I don't trust the media anymore. No one should. Today's day and age, it's changed so much. We need to start opening up our eyes more and more and realizing things aren't what they used to be. They're a lot worse now because we have weak leaders in positions of power. And I don't think people understand just how close we are to World War III. This election in 2 months' time, it's a very important one in the US. We're starting to see, hopefully, a revival. And God forbid that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz end up getting into office because the world will be doomed. I hate to see what will become of the world, especially the West, if they get in. I know Lex Friedman doesn't seem to think that the world's going to end, but I think he's living in a little bit of a positive framework. I'm very much sometimes I look at this and I go, I got a pessimistic kind of view. I've got an optimistic viewpoint as well, but I've also got a pessimistic viewpoint. And what I've been seeing, it scares me. But at the same time, I know I'm also a Christian and I know what the Bible says, but it's still scary all the same. We've got hope, but also a lot of things are still scary. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Till this point, you guys take care, you be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.